How do you remember that you want to do it? You got to trick yourself. When it comes to motivation versus discipline, and discipline is a hard thing to come by after the emotion from the motivation leaves, what can you do to rekindle, reignite your discipline? Find things that resonate with you. Find things that hit you in the solar plexus, that stir something deep within. For some reason, and shit, I don't know why, but when Dr. Robeson talked about drudgery, that worked. And I mean, shit, it might be this whole spite thing. People don't want to do stuff that is drudgery, that is drudging. I don't know any other forms of the word. People don't want to partake in drudgery.
What the hell's going on out here?
Hey, what's up? This is Dr. Taylor. You're watching, listening to, experiencing, taking in some way, shape, or form, another episode of Fueled by Spite. Today, I want to talk about motivation. I want to talk about motivation and its counterpart, discipline, because those are two vastly different things. What do they say? There's to go off of what we were talking about last episode about the what Instagram tells you. I'm special or I'm enough. I don't remember what it was. Discipline is doing what you said you're going to do long after the emotion passes when you said you were going to do it. What do you do when you look at your calendar? You look at your to-do list, your honey-do list, your stack of Post-its, your notes, your reminders, your notifications, your alarms, the things you set for yourself. And it says it's time to do insert task here. And you're like, fuck, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So what do you do in those situations? Because it really is. It's the question that spawned this question, this topic, this episode is literally that. I was talking with a coach of mine, Sean Dill, and he goes, I'm like, hey, so I'm a student of my calendar. He's like, good, you should be. I'm like, okay, but I'm a shitty student. Like, what do you mean? Well, I've got everything blocked off. And, talking to or listening to podcasts with Dave Meltzer, and he's said he studied the white spaces in the calendar. What the hell does that mean? The white spaces, the parts where there's nothing. Oh, okay. I'm like, so I've got all that. He goes, okay, so what's your question? What do you do when it comes time to do whatever? And man, I don't want to. Like I've got every Friday at 1 p.m. I've got a spot on my calendar called building things. It's where I go over paperwork to do with this building that I own. And man, come Friday at 1, sometimes I'm toast. Every day at 7:15, there's an alarm that goes off my calendar that says read. Some days I don't feel like reading. He's like, okay, so basically what you have is a discrepancy between motivation, basically the stuff that you were really excited to do when it came time to do it, and discipline. So going off of a previous coach, Dr. Tori Robeson, Winner's Edge, that's when it clicked with me, is early in my coaching with him. And not so he didn't bring it up too much in the past. It always seemed like it was me. And I don't know why this stuck with me, why I glommed onto this, why it resonated with me, hit me right in the solar plexus. But when I was starting my practice, Dr. Robeson would talk an awful lot to the group about drudgery, about things that you have to do to achieve the end you want. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm successful. Thanks for not noticing. I'm successful. But man, like it's not all sunshine and roses. Like there's just stuff I don't want to do. It's really there's stuff I don't want to do. But some of that stuff has to be done. Period. The end. Like it has to be done. Like I remember folding I had Office Depot. This is early in my practice. I had Office Depot print up a bunch of flyers for me. I was going to put them in envelopes. I was going to hand them out. Okay, bare minimum. I need paper, I need printing, and I need envelopes. We can fold them for you, sir. Okay, cool. Do that. That'll be an extra 13 cents per sheet or whatever the hell it was. Um, oh, what? No, I'm new in practice. I got to do this myself. So, like the drudgery was literally folding pieces of paper, stuffing envelopes, licking them shut. Sucked. Paper cuts, hands, lips, tongue, and it was drudgery, but it had to be done. And it was easy to do from a mental standpoint because the end was in mind. Okay. Like I'm building a practice. I'm building a life for my wife and I and my future family. So yeah, stuff in envelopes sucks, but I'm going to do it. But now, I mean, this is it's a first world problem. I posted a first world problem just yesterday. Hell, yeah, no, it was yesterday. You know why? So back in July, I had Chris Stapleton tickets. Well, I also had a seminar that I had to go to. Didn't have to, wanted to go to. Had to sell the Chris Stapleton tickets because I knew I'd get more value out of the seminar. He's on tour. So I bought new tickets. Tickets are for this Friday. Well, Rangers just won the pennant last night, so they're going to the World Series. Game 1 is this Friday. So guess who's going to go to the World Series and has to sell these Chris Stapleton tickets again? Like this is legit, first world problem kind of stuff. So it's now I've gotten to a point of being successful where I am, in my estimation, sometimes falsely so, above drudgery. And that's not a good place to be, right? There's shitty stuff that has to be done. Okay, so if there's shitty stuff that has to be done. You literally have 3 options. You can do it, you can pay somebody else to do it, or you can delegate it. That's it. So then the motivation, if you will, the motivation versus the discipline could potentially just morph into a staffing issue. How important is it? How important is it that whatever it is that needs to be done needs to be done? Is it so important that you should just hire somebody else to do it? Or that you should delegate it? Or is it something that you want to do yourself? Not want to, but maybe need to do yourself. And if it doesn't fit in those 3 categories, does it need to be done? I can't answer that for you. You can answer for yourself though, how important whatever this task is. But then it goes back to the calendar again. When that task comes up on the calendar, are you going to do it? I don't have the money to pay somebody else to do it. Okay. I also don't have the money to hire the staff to be able to delegate this. Okay. So that leaves one option of this thing that needs to be done. And that option is you. You have to do it. I don't want to do it. How do you remember that you want to do it? You got to trick yourself. When it comes to motivation versus discipline, and discipline is a hard thing to come by after the emotion from the motivation leaves, what can you do to rekindle, reignite your discipline? Find things that resonate with you. Find things that hit you in the solar plexus, that stir something deep within. For some reason, and shit, I don't know why, but when Dr. Robeson talked about drudgery, that worked. And I mean, shit, it might be this whole spite thing. People don't want to do stuff that is drudgery, that is drudging. I don't know any other forms of the word. People don't want to partake in drudgery. Okay. Well, if I know drudgery is going to help me win, and that guy over there, camera 2, that guy over there isn't going to do the thing that is drudgery. I really don't know another form of the word. Well, then that's all the more motivation I need to accomplish that task. Despite him, I did the shitty thing that I knew was going to make me win. And I did it for two reasons. One, because I knew it was going to make me win. And two, because you wouldn't. 'Cause I knew it would make me beat you. So, what are these things? What are these things that you can do to rekindle that drive? Again, you got to figure it out for yourself. I mean, there's music, man. I mean, pump up songs. There was another thing from Dr. Robeson, Winter's Edge, which I still do to this day. He said, name the year. Whatever it is you're doing, name the year. There's one year, like I am not a musical person as far as like, the theater. I appreciate it now far more than I ever did. But one year I don't remember exactly what I named the year, but the year had a theme song. It was a song from Rent. It's at 525,600 minutes. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to increase my collections to the point where I collected $1 a minute. So my pump up song was that song for that whole year. That pushed me from the motivation into the discipline. Another basically trick that I have. Again, this is Dr. Robeson Winter's Edges. I have a sheet of board members. There's a sheet of board members. Actually, I take this back. Again, I've brought this up before. A future episode is going to be called "Everything Is Stolen." So he put this off as his thing. It's not his thing. I read about it in Wallace Waddles. I've read about it in Napoleon Hill. Um, but you have your board meeting, and your board meeting can be made up of whoever you want it to be. And so I've got this Word document. It's just got these pictures on it. It's got Puff Daddy on it for his business acumen. Um, oh shit, it's got Wolverine, but not as Wolverine. Hugh Jackman as the Greatest Showman because the music in there is cool. It's got Calvin of Calvin and Hobbes because I love the way Calvin looked at the world. It's got the cast of Sandlot. It's got Earl Nightingale on it. Kirby Puckett, childhood hero. Like it's got these people on it. It's got Elon Musk on it. Um, Not Steve Harvey. Should have Steve Harvey. He's badass. Steve Martin and Martin Short. Kind of a side note. One of the reasons Steve Martin is such a fantastic comedian because he's studied comedy. Like the dude is stupid smart. But it's got just a list of people. It's a group of pictures of people with qualities that I want to emulate. Looking at my board members gives me inspiration. It helps me move back from that motivation into the discipline. It rekindles that fire, that drive, the willingness to do drudgery. So again, it goes back to those things. Your time pops up on the calendar to complete the task that you have assigned yourself. You got no one to blame but yourself. The task needs to be done in order for you to be a success. Got three options. You do it, you delegate it, or you pay someone else to do it. And if those three options don't suit you, then whatever that task is doesn't fucking need to be done. You need to reevaluate it. How do you go from motivation to discipline when the emotion for the motivation no longer exists? Got to keep your eyes on the prize. You've got to keep your eye on the goal. Beyond all that, you got to have goals. What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? I don't know where that's from. But you do. You got to have goals. You got to have something to strive for. You don't have something to strive for, well then hell, show up, work your 9 to 5, collect your paycheck, go the fuck home. You don't get to complain. But if you got something to strive for, if you got goals, that's how you keep your mind on the goals. That's how you do the things you don't want to do. That's how you wake up early in the morning and get your workout in and get back home and get showered up before everybody else in your house wakes up. Because you got goals. It's really like this is one thing I'm picking up for Sean too, from Sean too. Man, you got to ask good questions. And it kind of seems like a stupid question. Sean, how do you stay motivated? What do you do when your calendar alarm notification goes off and you don't want to do it? But it's something that happens to everybody. That's how you do it. It's the difference between motivation and discipline. Discipline comes from having goals. Sometimes you need a little help getting pulled back in there. Find the things that work for you. Right now, that song from Rent, that wouldn't work because I make more than $1 a minute now. Awesome. Thanks again, guys. Like, share, follow. This is a fun little episode. If you didn't catch the last one, Eric Love, like that, man, that episode was nuts. Go check that one out too. I watched it again after it was released. I forgot how much fun that was. These are all fun. Again, I appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate you sharing this, liking this. I mean, reviewing it on Spotify, all that fun stuff. There's some big things coming here in the world of Fueled by Spite. There's some big things coming with Aspire Chiropractic and just this pretty face and these dulcet tones on the podcast airwaves. We got a couple months before 2024 hits. And this year, ain't seen nothing yet. Bye bye. But baby, just ain't seen nothing yet. Shit, I don't know how to sign off on this. Bye.